To add storage capacity to a storage controller, you must attach more drive shelves. You can hot add shelves while the storage system is serving data. When you strictly follow the proper procedures, hot adding is a short and simple process. Failing to follow the procedures can result in shelves going offline and data becoming inaccessible. If the root aggregate is affected, the storage controller crashes and forces a failover to its high availability or HA partner. Always review the documentation before hot adding a shelf to become familiar with the entire process from start to finish. The new shelves might require additional rail kits. Assemble and install the rail kits. See the rail kits lesson in Tier 2. Follow the recommended practices for mounting the new shelves into the equipment cabinet. Connect the power cords to the shelves to power on the drives and prepare the shelf to change the shelf ID. Change the shelf ID according to the instructions for the shelf model that you're installing. See the Set Shelf ID lesson in Tier 3. Log in to the NetApp support site and download and install the latest disk qualification package, drive firmware, and shelf firmware to both storage controllers in an HA pair. Follow the recommended practice of running NetApp ActiveIQ Config Advisor to find any issues with the HA pair before performing any maintenance work. If rail kits are not installed, assemble and install additional rail kits. Then, using a hydraulic lift or the assistance of another person, mount the new shelves in the cabinet. If you are adding multiple shelves to the shelf stack, connect the shelf-to-shelf cables between the new shelves, but do not connect them to the old shelves yet. On the current last shelf in the shelf stack, disconnect the cable that is plugged into the I/O module, or IOMA. Experienced installation engineers recommend waiting 30 seconds for the NetApp ONTAP software to recognize the disconnect and to stabilize on the return path. Connect the cable to IOMA of the new shelf. If installing multiple new shelves, connect to the last shelf of the mini shelf stack. Wait 30 seconds and then repeat the previous steps for the cable to IOMB. Wait 30 seconds and then connect the shelf-to-shelf cables from the new shelves into the old shelf. Run Config Advisor to verify that the HA pair is operating properly. If information on the cable labels needs to be updated, replace the cables. Run Config Advisor again to verify that the cables are connected and systems functioning properly before turning the system back over to the customer. If Auto Assign is turned off in the ONTAP software, manually assign drive ownership. Remind the customer to leave at least one drive available as a spare when creating or expanding aggregates. If the new shelves make the information on the cable labels inaccurate, replace the cable labels. ONTAP software earlier than version 9.8 did not support mixing SAS2 shelves like the DS2246 and SAS3 shelves like the DS224C. With the end of availability of SAS2 shelves, NetApp has added support to mix the two shelf types. Mixing shelves is recommended only when the storage controller does not have enough ports to start a new shelf stack, and growing existing SAS2 shelf stacks is the only option. This mixing has a few specific limitations. First, after SAS3 shelves are added to a shelf stack, only one more SAS3 shelf can then be added to the stack. A shelf stack cannot transition from SAS2 to SAS3 and then back to SAS2. Second, the SAS3 shelves throttle down to 6 gigabits per second. Third, you cannot cable the shelf stack with optical SAS cables. Only copper cables are supported. Not all systems that run ONTAP 9.8 software support mixing, so use the Run Local sysconfig command to determine eligibility on the system. You can cable older systems with external or out-of-band alternate control path or ACP cables. NetApp recommends first converting the shelf stack to in-band ACP so that the new IOM12 shelves have ACP functionality. You can find the procedures to hot add shelves and to convert to in-band ACP in the Shelf Hot Add documentation on the NetApp support site. Config Advisor was initially created to check cabling, so always use the application before and after making any cabling changes. Follow the procedures to hot add shelves quickly and easily without issues. To add IOM 12 shelves to an IOM 6 shelf stack, read and follow the procedures. Explain the effects to the customer so that they understand the trade-offs of mixing shelf types.